They tell us that we should be kind and put other people's needs ahead of our own, but no one tells us that being too kind and attentive can be dangerous. We live in a world where we don't always receive what we give because it's full of generous people who see their generosity as draining them financially and emotionally. Being too kind can even put our own lives at risk. Be surprised by the bad things that can happen to you when you are kind. Today, I'll tell you 8 bad things that can happen to you if you are too nice, and I'll show you 4 hard ways to prevent people from taking advantage of you. Let's move on to number 1 without further ado. You will have too high hopes for people. The Stoics said that we should accept things as they are and not depend on what other people do to make us happy. Giving without expecting much in return prevents you from being disappointed and helps you practice emotional detachment, giving you a calmer mind. Whether we are aware of it or not, it's hard for us to be completely altruistic when we give. When we give everything we have, expecting everyone to do the same when we need something important, you might find that your hopes of reciprocity are not met, and you will end up in a bad mood, tired, angry, and sad. However, if we look at it objectively, people are not disappointing you, they are just doing what you should be doing, taking care of their own tasks. People only expect you to give them something, which is the second point. The Stoics say it is important to remember that true value comes from acting in a way that is good and logical, not just doing what other people want. Moderation and balanced giving help you keep control of your actions and prevent you from acquiring habits that harm your mental health. You've heard all your life that people are creatures of habit, and this couldn't be more true. People are made to adapt to a standard way of life and a symphony of things happening around them. The idea of the comfort zone comes from this desire to change. This means that if you are always giving to people you help, expecting you should give them something all the time, you'll lead them to their comfort zones and they won't have to do many of their responsibilities because you'll be there to do them. If you don't value yourself, probably no one will look you in the eyes and tell you to think more about yourself. At least don't expect that kind of empathy from the people you help because they would stick with their own Robin Hood, which would cost them a lot in their lives. Third, your goals won't be taken into account. The Stoics said that it's important to live by reason and virtue, to set limits, and to put our own responsibilities first if we want to remain balanced and not give up our identity and well-being for others. If you put everyone's needs before yours, you may end up running away from something inside you that hurts and scares you. How do you feel when you spend the weekend alone or come home every day knowing that there's no one there to greet you? If you're doing so many different things because you want to escape yourself, the blow will be twice as hard because, on the one hand, you'll have to face yourself sooner or later, and on the other, your bad mood will worsen as you start putting other people's needs before your own. Self-care is one of the most important parts of being healthy. Before you can help others feel better, you need to make sure you're happy, pampered, and well taken care of because that's something you should never give someone a chocolate unless you first really enjoyed one yourself. Similarly, you shouldn't offer to clean a friend's house until you clean your own and watched a good movie while drinking wine. The rest of the world comes after you. For people will think you're weak and treat you that way. Stoicism tells us to work on being strong and responsible for ourselves by setting limits and practicing self-discipline. We can show others that we are committed to our own responsibilities and ideals, gaining their respect instead of being seen as weak. If you help other people too much, at some point, you might be seen as an expert in the area where you work with other people. You could be making exactly the opposite impression when you don't set limits. People will start to see you as weak, just like the person who opposes a boss so much that they will come to you to get rid of their responsibilities because they know you won't say no. On the contrary, as soon as you use this magic word, they will start to feel something for you that they never thought they would. They will respect you a lot, or people will only come to you when they need something. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to be intelligent and wise by choosing who helps with self-control and perspective. We can tell the difference between real people and those who want to take advantage so that we don't waste time or energy on things that don't help. People who thought you were a good friend suddenly only want to hang out with you when they need something. If you think about it logically, it's not so unlikely that this could happen to you since most people don't invite their employees or colleagues for coffee, let alone a beer. What's happening to you makes sense, but that doesn't mean it's fair. So, you need to learn how to deal with methods I'll talk about later to prevent people from taking advantage of you. Sixth, you will only attract people who want something and never those who want to give. With patient judgment, we can build relationships that are real and good for both parties. People come into our lives because their energies match ours. That is, if we vibrate low, we attract negative people. Depressed people have dark souls and want to hurt us. When our vibrations are high, we draw people who are full of good energy, kindness, excitement, hard work, and joy. Because of this, when we give to everyone, we lose so much energy that we start to vibrate at a low frequency level. This makes needy people feel attracted to us, as well as opportunists who don't want to help and only want to take what they can from us and leave without even saying thank you. Seventh, you can end up getting addicted. Something that the Stoics taught people is to be calm and responsible for themselves. Self-discipline in giving prevents us from getting stuck in bad habits and allows us to maintain a good relationship with our actions and choices. When scarcity is a regular part of our lives, the need for something that grows is the best way to get addicted. So, one day, someone close to you might notice that you drink too much, not just the spring bartender, they might also notice that you eat too much or even gamble. Pay close attention to what someone who cares about you says, because your first instinct might be to get angry with them and tell them that you have no problems. However, that's how people usually act when they are so trapped in their own problems that they can't see it. Always remember that people who care about you want what's best for you. So, pay close attention to what they say, because they are trying to help you stop falling and move forward. Number 8, you will make people think twice. Stoicism tells us to do good things, no matter what others think of us. By focusing on living according to our beliefs and principles, we build a good image that can withstand false accusations. In a world where there aren't many kind people, if you are one, people will be suspicious of you instead of being impressed and grateful. It won't take long before your kindness makes people wonder what's happening with you and what plans you have that you're not telling anyone about. This may mean that you've met a suspicious group of people, but it's more likely that the truth is that they are just being honest. People who want to help too much are hiding plans so malicious that it's better to stay away from them and refuse the help they offer. Now let's see what you can do to prevent people from taking advantage of you. Strategy number 1, pay attention to how you feel, because it's telling you something. Based on the Stoic idea of self-awareness, pay attention to how you feel. The Stoics thought it was important to think about oneself to understand one's feelings and desires. By paying attention to your feelings, you can tell if you are giving too much and mentally wearing yourself out. This allows you to change your focus and find a good balance in how you feel while helping others. Thinking about yourself and putting yourself first is such a kind thing to do, so do it. You should feel like you're walking on clouds when you do it. So, if you feel too busy, tired, annoyed, or used, it's time to listen to how you feel. If something you don't need to do makes you feel so bad that you shouldn't lie to yourself about it, instead, find out how the help you are giving affects your health. Plan number 2, don't be afraid of the word no. Following the lessons of the Stoics, you should realize that your time and energy are important and need to be used in a balanced way. Self-control can be demonstrated by being able to say no when you feel too busy or when the request is unfair. Even though the word no makes us think of bad and sad things, it's normal for us to find it difficult to say it. But if we don't learn to say this word when someone wants more from us than we can give, pessimism will take over our lives. Practice in front of the mirror and tell yourself that it's the only way to regain your freedom and avoid unnecessary risks and potential pitfalls. Strategy 3, you have a time and a place for yourself, respect them. Following the Stoic values of self-discipline and self-respect, it's important to set aside time and space to take care of yourself. Do what you want, like exercising, drawing, listening to music while having a cup of tea, or anything else that uplifts you. Finish your responsibilities as soon as you can so you can experience this. You should take this very seriously, so seriously that you should schedule it every day or every week. If someone asks for your help during that time, they need to be very kind and helpful to you, not to the person. Without remorse, say no and enjoy that time and space just for yourself. If you don't want to be that direct, you can offer to help at a different time, but make it clear that you can only help for a short time because you have other things pending. Strategy number 4, identify energy vampires and distance yourself from them. Following the Stoic principles of self-discipline and wisdom, it's important to know which relationships are good for you and which can mentally drain you. Steer clear of people who constantly drain your energy and don't add anything positive. Taking care of your own health and showing Stoic self-control in your relationships, you should know that trying to help an energy vampire won't work. People who overwhelm you with their complaints and their catastrophic view of life, don't worry about trying to help them. If their problems were solved, they would have to stop complaining, and that's something they wouldn't tolerate. In conclusion, according to Stoic wisdom, the best measure for things in life is always the middle ground, and generosity is no exception. If we give too little, we are seen as selfish and greedy, while if we give excessively, we end up completely without time, energy, and probably money too. So, lean towards the middle ground, which is still the best choice for finding a balance between putting others' needs first and putting your own needs first. And if you're ever unsure, just remember the magic word, no. Even more so if they offer to take you home through the car window. We've come to the end of this journey, and I sincerely hope that these tips are of great use to you. Don't forget that you are a crucial part of this channel. So, if this video helped you, made you think, or you learned something, give it a thumbs up so more people can discover the powers of Stoic wisdom.